إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد إن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. My brothers and sisters in Islam, you just heard the recitation of a surah that mashallah every Muslim knows. Even our little children who are 3-4 years old, they know what this surah is about. This is Surah Al-Kawthar. This surah is the shortest surah, but yet it's one of the most comprehensive Jami' surahs of the Quran, that if we were to dedicate a halaqah just on Surah Al-Kawthar, it would have been great. Inshallah, we'll do that sometime. And trust me, scholars have written books, pages and chapters in dedicating only to this surah. If you go to the tafsir of Surah Al-Kawthar, you will be amazed how much Imam al-Razi and great scholars of Islam have written only on this surah. We're focusing on this ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Pray for your Lord and do nahr, sacrifice. Why we do that? For a very simple reason, that whatever we do in our deen, we do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a basic definition or understanding of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Whatever we do as Muslims, we do it for Allah, and we do it on the method of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah told him to do it, and as he did it, we follow that. Clear? That is why Quran teaches us, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, in Surah Al-Adha, Inna salati wa nusuki, Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair is not in the ayah. It's, it just happened that as I completed the ayah, water came, mashallah, bismillah. Allah says in the Quran, tell them, teach it to them, that my prayer, indeed my prayer, my sacrifice, my living and my death, they're all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbil Alameen, manager, Lord, Mudabbir al-Amr, Allah, the manager of all the worlds, meaning whether it's the world of ins and jinn, men and jinn, the whole universe, galaxies, He is the Rabb or Lord for all of them. Lordship belongs to Him. This is the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Having said that, my brothers and sisters, whatever day of our life it is as important as it is now and as it was before. We owe everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether it is waking up, sleeping, going to bathroom, everywhere we follow how Allah tells us to do, and the method is, the tariqah is the tariqah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's very simple. This is what La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but He knows that we are humans. We have human weaknesses and we have uptime, downtime, we sometimes forget, we sometimes ignore things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why He gives us these important days, important times, important events. See, times, days, events, all kinds of things to help us connect with Him again and again and again, to rejuvenate that iman. Imagine if 24/7, 365, you would eat the same, you would drink the same, and you would dress the same. What happens to you? You will end up in a hospital. Right? That's human nature. And who created us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's Al-Hakim, isn't he? One of His names is Al-Hakim, the most wise. No one can have wisdom like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why knowing our weaknesses, knowing our attributes and human nature, He chose for us important days. Like in a Friday, Friday is the most important day of the week, where we remember Allah more than usual. He chose for us important things, like the book of Allah, the Quran, you see, in your bookshelves, in your pockets, in your hearts, in your cell phones. This will remind you of Allah. So He gave us symbols, times, days, events, so many things, to constantly remind us of Him. Then in the days of the week, He has Friday. Then in the whole year, you have, mashallah, Ramadan. You have nights of Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr, inshallah. I hope Allah gives us Laylatul Qadr again and again and again in our lives. Then He gave us special days, like the days of Muharram. And then most important days of the year that He chose for us are the days of Zulhijjah. Are the days of Zulhijjah. And He chose them to be in the most honorable months. These days, the 10 days of Zulhijjah, are among the most sacred months of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the months are months of Allah. Like in the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Naqatullah, the camel of Allah. To understand the concept of months of Allah a little bit, and then we go to the understanding of days of Allah. In the Quran, Allah says, they killed Naqatullah. Nation of Qawm Salih alayhi salam, people of Thamud, killed who? Naqatullah. Now, what about all the other camels? Aren't they camels of Allah? Think about it. They're all Allah's camels. But when Allah says, this is my naqa, now it becomes a very honored and special animal among all the creations of Allah. They're all Allah's. Remember, Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillah. All of us, whatever we own, whatever we have, whatever we see around us, it belongs to who? He's the owner. He's the creator. They are His creation. So every camel is Allah's camel. Every month is Allah's month. All the 12 months are Allah's months. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, these are the holy sacred months, my months, then they become very special months. And among all of them, you have these Zulhijjah and Muharram, they're like brothers together, next to each other. And both of them have these 10 days that are very, very special. Right or wrong? Right? Many of you know, alhamdulillah. So, whenever we see these things around us, that's why when we were little kids, our parents taught us something called adab, respect. You have Quran, you have adab for it. You have a special day, you have respect for it. They will tell you, oh, this is time for Jummah. Don't, do this, don't do that. Let's get ready for Salah. Let's do this, let's do that. You honor those times. There's a reason for that, my brothers and sisters. When we honor special days and special events or symbols of Allah, masjid. Masjid is symbol of Allah. When we honor these symbols of Allah or days of Allah, months of Allah, what happens? Something happens. When you have that respect for them, something heavenly happens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put in your hearts something called taqwa. Allah will put in your hearts what? Taqwa. We all know what's taqwa, inshallah, right? Taqwa of Allah. Love, fear, sincerity. A special relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When in every walk and talk of life, you remember what Allah wants from you, that is taqwa. And you try to do your best to be on that. And this is not my opinion actually, this is Quran. Allah is saying, وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فإنها من تقوى القلوب. Whosoever honors these sha'airullah. What's a sha'airullah? Sha'air came from the word, actually the root is sha'ur, and its singular is sha'ira. Okay? Sha'ur means sense. And subhanallah, sha'ira means something that you would give you a sense of something. It will remind you of something. Quran reminds you of who? Allah. Masjid reminds you of who? Allah. Right? Hajj reminds of who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? Everyone is going there, everyone is dressing one clothing, one color, one kalima, one statement, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik. He's saying that. So who are you being reminded of? Allah. These are sha'airullah. Kaaba, when you see Kaabatullah, who do you think of then? It reminds you of who? Allah. Allah said, you can't see me, but you can see my house. Bayti, my house. Baytiya. So when you see somebody's house, I mean, imagine you go to your mom and dad, your parents' house, you think of your parents. Some of you just came from back home. When you were landing, you were going, and as soon as you saw your neighborhood, you thought of your friends and family, and most of all, your parents. Right? But when you are going to the house of Allah, see that cubicle building, who you think of? Allah. Sha'airullah are those things that remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran, Masjid, Kaabatullah, Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and special days, days of Zulhijjah, these are all part of Sha'airullah. These are symbols, like the poles that are erected in Allah's name. When you see them, you think of no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my brothers and sisters, right now, we are very lucky that we are about to enter in these special days that Prophet Muhammad said that there are no days in a year. Sahih Muslim, no days in a year when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to be worshipped as much as these 10 days. 10 days of the Hijjah. Isn't that amazing? Allah loves to be worshipped. Loves to be worshipped. Loves to be prayed to Him. Loves to do good things for Him. To see good things being done for Him. Allah loves to see all the good deeds in these 10 days. That is why, my brothers and sisters, many scholars of Islam said that these 10 days are more important even than the days of Ramadan. They are more important than the days of Muharram. They are more important than the days of the day of Ashura. These are the greatest days of a year. Because of who Prophet Muhammad said. Allah swore by these days in the Quran, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. He swore by them. And وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ means like days and nights both. Layla, in the Arabic language, when they talk about, the night, it's an expression to talk about 24-hour cycle. Subhanallah. So Allah swore by them. He never swore by Ramadan. He never swore by Laylatul Qadr. He never swore by Muharram. He never swore by the 12 months of the year. He never swore by any one of them except these days. It's very huge. Very huge. Our brothers and sisters, Hajis, and Hajjas, of course, Hajjah is a female Haji, and Haji is the male Haji. These Hujjaj al-Karam, honorable people, they are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you know anyone who is going to Allah's house, remember to ask him. Just tell him briefly, general. Don't give him a piece of paper. Don't do that. Just ask him, please keep me in your dua. And he will make dua for you. Whatever good words, inshallah, will occur to him at that time. Remind him. Prophet Muhammad reminded Umar, Nabi of Allah, Rasulullah is reminding Umar, Ushrikna ya ukhayya fi du'aik. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Wallahi, how can I dare imagining even that Rasulullah would ask someone like me and you? Umar, he's a human being. He's not a prophet. He's not Rasul. And that's why he started to cry. He said, Rasulullah, I will make dua for you. He said, yes, you will be guest of Allah. They are duyufur Rahman. Rasulullah said, Al-Hijjah, they are duyufur Rahman. They are guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, when you go to somebody's house, when you have that da'wat, dinner and all that, how we prepare? Me and one of our dear uncles, we sat one day, we talked about how much time one da'wat takes for a guest to be in. 4 or 5 hours, easily. We prepare, we make sure we dress well, we smell good, we make sure that we are going there, we behave respectfully and everything, because we're guests of somebody's. We have a host who's inviting us. Imagine Allah is inviting you. Really, like one of our teachers used to say back home, he said, your feet are not on earth, you're flying. You're flying, you're on a flight towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're very special, honorable people. So remind them. But you see, this is a great honor for us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us through Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually, through Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, gave us this gift that we're not deprived of joining our brothers and sisters in spirit. We're very lucky. There are some very simple do's and don'ts that we could do, and we could join our brothers and sisters in Hajj, inshallah, by doing these things in spirit. Spiritually, we will join them. Number one thing that we need to do before the first happens. Tomorrow could be the first night of the Hijjah or day after, depending on the announcement of Hajj. Now, right now, today is 28th, I believe, 28th of Zulhijjah, according to the dates I checked even yesterday or something. So make sure if your family is doing udhiyah for you, sacrifice. Make sure if they're doing that. A lot of people, one family does one udhiyah per family. Especially that head of the family, and if everybody can do it. Do not clip your nails, do not trim your hair, any hair anywhere in the body. Make sure you do all of these preparations now. Okay? If your sacrifice for you is being done, do that please. Especially those for whom udhiyah is being done. Other thing is, some of the other don'ts, important don'ts, is to stay away from haram things. Staying away from ma'asiyah, from any kinds of sins, because, and especially of course major sins of the eyes and the ears and all those things. Try to stay away from music. A lot of these musical songs, they're loaded with haram. They talk about opposite gender, opposite sex. They talk about nothing but haram. They want you to commit haram. So stay away from those big things in these 10 days. I'll give you an example. If someone spat anywhere, it wouldn't be a serious sin. But if someone spat in the house of Allah, wouldn't it be a deadly sin? Even though it is small, apparently. Right? Think about it. So, dishonoring any other days of Allah would be less serious versus dishonoring these days of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These days are very, very serious. So try your level best to follow deen as much you can. These are some of the basic do's and don'ts that you can practice, my brothers and sisters. In this case, there are some famous things that have become very popular among people. I want to remind you not to limit yourself to that. There's one hadith that says that, the famous Takbeerat of Eid, that most of our Muslims, alhamdulillah, they know that they start those with Eid or the day of Arafah. Some hadith says that do it from the beginning of the Al-Hijjah. From the first, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. This is not to be done in these 10 days. It actually specifically starts from authentic hadith from the 9th, the day of Arafah, the big day that is in these days. One of the reasons actually scholars say that these days are the greatest days, because in these days there is a day that no other day in your whole year, including the days of Ramadan, can guarantee forgiveness of current and the past both. Current year and the past year, both years since. No day. You look up any book of Islam, any hadith, you will never find a day that will forgive your sins of the past and present. Allahu Akbar. That's huge, isn't it? Inshallah, in the Jummah khutbah, we'll touch base on Arafah a little bit. So that's when your takbeerat start, not now. There's a da'if hadith that even Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah quoted that hadith in his khutbah. I actually brought his khutbah with me. This hadith is da'if. You don't start that from, make sure you're ready beforehand. You've done all your preparations, your nails, your hair and all that. Then these 10 days you don't do any of this. You become like a haji, as if you're in ihram, spiritually. And you do more ibadah, more salah, more tasbih, more tahmeed, more tahleel. The window is open. Okay? Improve your 5 prayers, improve your sunnah, do more sunnah, more zikr, more worship. The zikr of morning and evening, revive those in your daily routines. And above all of that, you could be 24/7 as a abid of day and night, especially all day if you were to fast. If you were to fast. But that fasting is not wajib, it's mandub, it's recommended. It's recommended by the scholars, because based on a weaker hadith, but it has all the other content authentic. From Hafsa radiallahu anha, the Prophet did fast. They couldn't verify that, but other companions did fast. The other companions and other Muslims, scholars of Islam, they all have fasted these days. So if you can do it, very good, but don't miss the big day. Do not miss the big day, please, which could be most likely Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the Hajj announcement. Okay? The day of Arafah. The day which reminds us of the Day of Judgment. That's a big do. So remember, these are the things we can do from 1 through 8. From the 1st to the 8th. More tilawah of Quran, tilawatul Quran. But one of the best dhikr. Salah, okay? Siyam, sadaqat, charity. Huququl ibad, taking care of other Muslims, relatives, needy, miskeen, yateen. From 1 through 8. These are 8 days. Got it? All of this is what? Worship. Just improving your 5 prayers, things will get better. I know many of you have work. It might be difficult for you to fast. Okay, you can't fast, then keep your tongue wet with the dhikr of Allah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Okay? The hadith says there's a da'if hadith, but its meanings are correct. That do more tasbih, tahmeed, tahleel. A brother shared with me from Saudi Arabia audio of a scholar who he was quoting this hadith repeatedly. Hadith meanings are correct. The meanings of hadith is not authentic, but meanings are correct because Prophet said in an authentic hadith that Allah loves to be worshipped, and there are many ways to worship. One of the ways to worship Allah is do more tasbih, subhanallah, more tahmeed, alhamdulillah, more tahleel, more takbeer, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Ahabbul kalami ila Allahi arba'ah. You know that famous hadith? Sahih Muslim. So, hadith is da'if, but I can support it with an authentic hadith. Ahabbul kalami ila Allahi arba'ah. The most beloved speech to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most beloved dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is these 4 kalimat. 4 kalimat. Which are Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Please write this down if you need to. Otherwise, after every salah we do Subhanallah, we do Alhamdulillah, we do Allahu Akbar 33, 33, 33 or 34. The only thing that you don't remember, you might have to remember is La ilaha illallah. Easy? Easy peasy? Inshallah. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Or you can add wow with it. Subhanallah, walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. It's all good. Do that, please, in these 8 days. More salah, more siyam, more qiyam, tahajjud, tilawatul Quran, more prayers, more fasting, more tahajjud, more zikr, zikrs of the morning and evening. Grab those books, Fortress of the Muslim. By God, you Google it, just say Fortress of the Muslim, the whole book will come to you PDF for free. You will get a free app. You will get it all for free. You just have to have what? Iman to do it, realization. Improve your prayers. We're all used to doing Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, la ilaha ghairu, alhamdulillah, alamin, Allahu Akbar, astaghfirullah, as if it's a joke. Improve your prayers. Add more tasbih, or Subhanallah, walhamdulillah. You know, Prophet made such a long dua at this point that Sahaba, they thought Prophet forgot to do Surah Fatiha. They thought Prophet forgot to get up from the ruku or sujood. This is how long he used to do it. All of those are there. Try to memorize them. You got it? Inshallah. These are some of the recommendations that I'm making. These are some of the most simple and doable and inshallah easy things that we all can do. If you can't do fasting, these are so many avenues. And imagine if you're doing fasting and all of that. Especially during the day hours. Fasting and all of that. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most beloved days to Allah. They said, oh Rasulullah, even jihad? Sahaba were thinking that, jihad. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Jannatu fi tahta dhilal al-suyuf. Paradise is under the shadow of the swords. They said, Rasulullah, even jihad? He said, yes, even jihad. These days, ibadah, worship, is better than even jihad. He said, unless, Sahih Muslim, unless someone left with his sacrificing, with his family, belongings and everything, he left and neither he came back nor his belongings came back, meaning he lost everything, his life and his mind. He might be better than those people who are worshipping. So imagine this. So 1 through 8, plan all of these things. And don't miss the big day, the 9th day. Inshallah, don't miss that big day, please. That's why I always tell people, if you're fasting of 8 days will take you away from the big day, the 9th, which is definitely, absolutely authentic. Some ulama say it's wajib. Some say it's sunnah muakkada. Prophet never skipped it. Point is, let's not miss that day. Let's target for that big day, inshallah. If the fasting of 8 will prevent you, inshallah it won't. Actually, it might help you get in the rhythm, in the flow. So, with tawfiq, may Allah give you all tawfiq as much you can do. So please remember these things, morning zikr, evening zikr, tasbihat, tasbih, tahmeed, tahleel, takbeer, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, 100 times la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu al-mulk wa lahu al-hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Prophet said, if somebody says it 100 times, it is as if he freed 10 slaves from Banu Ismail. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu al-mulk wa lahu al-hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Do that. And on the day of Arafah, this dhikr, Prophet Muhammad said, this is the dhikr of all the prophets. This is the dua, actually, the best dua of Arafah. We will not get together like this on the day of Arafah, right? We will probably see each other next month. So please, on the day of Arafah, remember, this is the best dua of Arafah, yet it has no words of dua. Do you know why? Imagine you're constantly praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What will happen? Back in the old Arabia, before Islam, poet would come and he would praise the Shaykh of the Qabila. And he would say lots of poetry in his praise. And he would say, oh, I'm so happy, give him the bag of gold coins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He deserves that praise. You keep on praising Him, you will get so much that you didn't even ask for. That is the meaning, that this is the best dua of prophets before Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Muhammad. Allahu Akbar. Can you please remember that dhikr? On the day of Arafah, please remember this. Don't miss that dhikr. After the day of Arafah is over, then the big day of Eid comes. Inshallah, we'll explain about the Eid prayer method and everything on the day of Eid, inshallah, in the khutbah as well. What we need to know, that from the day of Arafah until the 13th of the Al-Hijjah, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. From Fajr of Arafah, Fajr of the 9th, until, which would be most likely Tuesday, all the way to the 13th of the Hijjah. Please follow the Islamic dates, at least for these 5 days. Until Asr prayer. Walking, talking, driving, wherever you are, after Salah, before Salah, what you have to say, famous Takbeerat of Eid. You know those, right? You know the famous Takbeerat of Eid? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah wallahu akbar, Allahu akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Allah says in the Quran, وَاذْكُرُ اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. These are أيام معلومات. Allah says, dhikr of Allah, أيام معدودات. These are few days, make the dhikr of Allah in these. Don't forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these days. And glorify His name. Allahu Akbar, glorify Him. That Allah, you are Akbar, I am Asghar, I am no one. In everything, in every matter, you are the greatest. I am the lowest. Who are we? Al-Kibriya'u lillah. Rasulullah said, anyone who tries to take this cloak of Allah, which is glory and greatness, Allah will humiliate him and put him in the lowest of heaven. May Allah save us from that. So do a lot of takbeer of these days, okay? From 9 to the 13th. Now, the last thing inshallah of these days is, these are called the day of Udhiyah. That's why it's called Eidul Adha. The Qurban, the sacrifice that is done after Duha. Udhiyah. Udhiyah from Adhi. These are the roots of this word. Means morning, and also it means the Udhiyah, the sacrifice of the morning. Remember, it's days according to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Nobody saw Prophet ﷺ doing it beyond the 10th, beyond the first day. We have Sahaba, more than 5 companions, who have been seen doing it on the 10th, 11th, and 12th. The day of Eid, 11th and 12th, not the 13th. Please remember this, that hadith that a lot of people rely on, that all the days of Tashriq are the days of Qurbani, is a da'if hadith. It is not reliable. Don't put your Udhiyah in question. Don't put your Qurbani in question. Better the first day. Can't do it, second day or the third day. No fourth day. Please remember this. A lot of scholars used to believe that. Many of them, alhamdulillah, returned and made rujur to this issue. They realized that they were mistaken. Alhamdulillah, Imam Malik and many of the Imams of fiqh, actually, they came back to this and they realized that no, we can't go beyond the 12th. We don't find evidence of companions doing it beyond that. Just remember this. 10th, 11th, and 12th at the most, not the 13th. Zikr ends on the 13th and zikr starts on the 9th. It has nothing to do with Udhiyah. A lot of people give that logic also. Oh, your zikr, tasbih ends on the 13th. Why can't the Qurbani not end on the 13th? No. Zikr starts on the 9th. You start Qurbani also on the 9th? No, we don't. Right? Please, these masail issues, keep them in mind, because in order for our deeds to be accepted, there are 2 things. Somebody asked Fudayl ibn Iyad that, what is Amalus Salih? What is Amalus Salih? He said 2 things. Akhlasahu wa aslahu. He said, what does that mean? He said, it has to be khalis for Allah. Number 1. Number 2, it has to be original. They said, what do you mean original? Meaning it has to have evidence from Abul Qasim Sunnah Rasulullah. These are the 2 things. If our deeds are missing these 2 conditions, we cannot call them a'malus salihah. We cannot call them good deeds. Right? The way Rasulullah did it, we have to do it that way. Or at least his companions for that matter afterwards. And we stop at that inshallah. If you have any questions, please go ahead. One last thing, when you go for Udhiyah, if you find this year you might have a problem finding a cattle, a goat, sheep or lamb that is not of age. Remember, for sheep and lamb there's no problem. Scholars have allowed 6 months also. It's okay. For goats, they say 1 year, but scholars have also allowed, based on a hadith actually, where one Sahabi came and he told Rasulullah that I can't find a 1-year animal. He said it's okay if it's young, as long as it's not too weak. If it looks healthy and bigger, you're fine even if it's younger than a year. That's something very important to know. So, but for a cow, usually nobody's gonna do the cow. But for a cow and camel, there's an age limit that's beyond a year. I think it's 2 years or 3 years, something like that. We don't have to deal with that. 4 defects that Prophet ﷺ warned us about, and those are the defects that you should be careful of. Other things, missing a year, tooth broken and all that, no problem. 4 things the Prophet ﷺ said, these are must, that in your udhiyah you shouldn't have. Number 1, a'war, 1 eye. Missing 1 eye, a'war. You can't have that. Number 2, limping, a broken leg or something, 1-legged or 3-legged, or missing a leg totally, or he's limping, he's injured, 1 leg is broken or something like that. You can't do that. Number 3, obviously too weak. And number 4, obviously looking sick. If it's obviously too weak, even if it's past a year age limit, sinna. No, you can't do that. Good? Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow our deen. One brief thing inshallah, if you do go to a farm and you do the sacrifice, remember to make that dua after Bismillah Allahu Akbar. You say Allahumma minka wa laka. Oh Allah, it is from you and it is going to you, inshallah. And remember, Allah is not going to get any of this meat. He says, وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. He seeks taqwa from you. Another big confusion about Udhiyah. So many people every year ask, please, those of you brothers and sisters who are here, please remember this. You are not required to keep 1/3 for yourself, give 1/3 to the relatives, and give 1/3 to the needy. You could give the whole thing to the needy. So if you have plans of loading your fridges and stuff, and washing them up, getting them ready, please change those plans. You can give the whole thing to the needy also. And if you are so poor, and you want to eat the whole meat, you can keep the whole thing too. Alhamdulillah, there is no restriction in this. This 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 division, it's a scholarly recommendation. It's recommended. It's not from Sunnah. So those sisters and brothers who have donated the whole Udhiyah to Tanzania and other places, mashallah, you might be getting more reward than all of us. It's great. Good. This question comes up all the time, so I thought to bring it up too. And one last thing, there's a lot of people, they skip Qurbani by saying, oh, Rasulullah did it for us. He once did a sacrifice and he said, this is from me and from Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Please don't do istihza with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The hadith is da'if, but even if the hadith is sahih, the words are not like that. The actual dua he made was, so many people were doing sacrifice, he said, oh Allah, accept from me and those who are doing it. Those who are doing Qurbani with him. He didn't say for 3,000 years or something, the ages to come. He didn't say that. He just made a dua that Allah accept from everyone. He didn't say that you're all exempt. Good? So this Prophet ﷺ Sunnah is Qurbani. Ibrahim a.s. Qurbani is different Qurbani. It's not the same, the Udhiyah of Eid that we do. Just remember that it says another weak, and some scholars have called it fabricated hadith. They say it is a Sunnah of Ibrahim. Hajj is Sunnah of Ibrahim a.s. The Udhiyah of Eid is a special Qurbani that Prophet did it, companions did it, and their companions did it. It's in continuity that, alhamdulillah, we have the dalil for this. Please, if you have any questions related to the days of the Hijjah, anything you might have heard, you want to clarify, from internet and this and that, please go ahead and ask, inshallah.
Is Udhiyah from every member of the family or just
Oh, mashallah, very good question. This also comes up every year. A lot of time, mashallah, if Allah has blessed you wealth, you want to do 5, 6, 7 udhiyah for every child and this and that, it's your choice. Really what Sahaba did after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to do one for the whole family, because Prophet used to do that. Sometimes Prophet did 2. That's why some of the companions, they used to do 1 year 1 and the other year 2. And one of the companions, 1 year he would do sheep, the other year he would do lamb, the other year he would do cow, the other year he would do a camel, to follow the Sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it hasn't happened that companions would do one for every child in the family. You could use the same money to help orphans and refugees and so many other things. Just do one for the whole family, that's more than enough. In fact, there was a funny situation, and you can tell that even in Sahaba time they had wife and husband issues. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, he brought one, not so big size, lamb or goat after the sacrifice to his home. So his wife said, why you are so stingy? You're doing one. Look at all the neighbors. Everybody's doing 2, 3, 4. What's your problem? He said, I do what Rasulullah and Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did and he taught us to do. She said, don't you want to do for us and for kids and everybody? He said, no, we all need one. It's more than enough. We all need one to fulfill the Sunnah. Remember, Qurbani is not wajib. It's not fard. If you do it, alhamdulillah. If you cannot do it, you can't afford to do it, don't kill yourself. Don't hurt yourself with sadness. There is a hadith that is very famous, and unfortunately sheikhs quote it in the khutbahs. Sheikh Ali al-Jibali quoted it sadly, and he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Rasulullah did not say it, but I will tell you the hadith, very famous, that whoever can do Qurbani and he didn't do it, he should not pray Eid with us. Subhanallah. It's a very famous report. And based on that, because of this hadith, Abu Hanifa thought Qurbani is wajib, because of this hadith. But alhamdulillah, hadith is not authentic. It has a guy, his name is Abdullah bin Ayyash. This is matruk, okay? He's a very, very unreliable person, matruk. You know what's matruk? Leave him. He's the narrator of this hadith. So this hadith is not authentic, and if it was authentic, then first violation was done by Sahaba, because some Sahaba, actually, subhanAllah, I have the names here, Shaykhain, Abu Bakr and Umar, they used to skip sometime udhiyah just to teach people that it's not obligatory. They would skip it. So imagine, they didn't know this hadith. The Prophet said, don't pray with us if you didn't do Qurbani and you have the money. They have the resources, but they wouldn't do it just to teach Muslims that it's not an obligation. Jazakallah khair, very good question, alhamdulillah. Other questions, brothers and sisters? For these 8 days, the day of Arafah, I'm breaking it down. The first 8 days, the day of Arafah, then from the 10th to the 13th, or from 9 to the 13th. Any other questions you have?
Sometimes some people say that, I don't have to do the Qurbani, I can do the sadaqah money to the poor, but they don't do the udhiyah. What is the statement?
They don't realize that actually the Qurbani meat, we're not eating the meat. They could have given the same food to the poor, and it would have fed so many people. So many people need that food. There are people really in Muslim countries who are waiting all year that they would have meat when somebody does udhiyah, when somebody does Qurbani. It does help the poor. It's just, if someone really does not want to follow Islam and he wants to find ways and this and that, like another argument that people give, oh, this is endangering the species. Have you ever heard that cows or camels or lambs or sheep and goats became extinct because Muslims are killing too many of them? It won't happen. SubhanAllah, they're being used for medicinal purposes, their skin is being used. Look at how many benefits it has. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ. Allah has given you sources of provision from them. Starting from their head to toe, everything in their body is to serve the mankind. Allah has made these things. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِّنْهُ. Whatever is on this earth, Allah has made it subservient to serve us. In return, what does Allah ask from us? Taqwa, thank me, and do shukr of me. That's why we have to say Bismillah before we eating it. It's not just Ba, Sin, Mim, 3 letters. It's really huge when we say Bismillah. We're recognizing the fact that, oh Allah, had you not made them serve us, we wouldn't have been able to have them. We have them because you allowed them to have them. Good? Inshallah. So there are people who will always be having these excuses. Like there are people who say, oh, I won't go to Hajj because there's so many poor people, I could help them. Ya akhi, help the poor and go to Hajj also. You can do both. There's a lot of people who do say that, and they are usually the ones who have the resources. They are usually the ones who have the resources. And in Hajj, how many poor are helped because of Hajj? There are so many poor people that I've seen with my own eyes over there who survive and feed their families because of Hajj. Because you go and spend and give them business. This is, subhanAllah, Hajj benefits them. So Hajj has dunya and deen, both benefits. Your whole Islam comes into practice in Hajj. Whole Islam. That's why there's no ibadah like Hajj. Think about it. All Islam comes into practice, whether it's huquq al-ibad, taking care of people, or taking care of Allah's rights. All comes into practice. Alhamdulillah. Any other questions? If sisters have questions, they can ask me from the back, or they can send it to me in writing as well. Oh, one more thing, brothers. Something very important, brothers and sisters. Do visit the cemetery, qubur, and make dua for people who have died over there. Prophet ﷺ said that I used to forbid you from going to the graves, but now I allow you. And one night, Jibreel alayhi salam came to him. Jibreel alayhi salam, Sahih al-Bukhari. And he said, "O Rasulullah, Allah wants you to visit Al-Baqiyah and make dua for the deceased." So Prophet left in the darkness of the night. In the darkness of the night. And he went, and when he left the house, al-Mu'mineen thought that he's sneaking out to the other wives or something. So she started to follow Rasulullah. So she said, when I was following him in the darkness of the night, I couldn't believe it. And she started shaking with fear. Fear of Allah. That I was thinking that Rasulullah may be sneaking out on me. And he's going to qubur, graves, sacrificing his sleep. Look how much concern Prophet had for you and I. He goes and he lifts his hand, lifting his hands, and makes dua. Nowadays people think, oh, if you lift the hands, it's bid'ah or something. Rasulullah lifted his hands. Don't have that phobia of bid'ah. Rasulullah did it. Once you know he did it, khalas, be comfortable. She said he would lift up his hands, sometimes he would drop them down. It's okay. He would lift up his hands and drop them down. He made the dua. So please try to visit the graves on Eid, best on the day of Eid if you can. It's also a sunnah to visit the graves on these happy occasions so that you don't forget that where we are going. It's a reminder for yourself and for all of us, inshallah. That's a very good sunnah also to do, to visit the graves. And subhanAllah, Aisha, when she saw him doing this, as soon as Prophet returned, she quickly ran back and she got inside the bed. And when Prophet came, and she was covering herself, and when Prophet came in, he could feel the heavy breathing. He said, Aisha, what is this? She said, oh Rasulullah, even if I hide from you, Allah will reveal it to you. I thought you were going to the other women or something. So Prophet sort of pushed, hey, come on. You would think like this for me? So subhanAllah, al-Mu'mineen did that. Imagine, today we're so scared to go to the graves that if you and I went to the graves in the middle of the night, some of you would be scared that, man, some jinn might come and catch us. SubhanAllah, Rasulullah, imagine it's a fearful thing to do. To be at the graves when nobody's around you. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah, to make dua for our brothers and sisters who have left us. Okay? Anything else? Inshallah, so we close on this. Please do your best. Don't waste these days. And remember, these days are even more important than Ramadan. You have no day in a year like the day of Arafah that will forgive your current sins and the past, both this year and the past year. May Allah give us tawfiq to be, inshallah, on the path of taqwa and to benefit from these days and to honor these days, inshallah. Even if you did not do enough worship, at least do not do sins. At least stay away from major sins, sins of the eyes, when you're watching TV, computer, be careful. Be very, very careful. And if you can do good deeds with them while you're avoiding the sins, mashallah, that's, as we say, sonne be sohaga. Inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you for coming. May Allah accept from everyone, inshallah, and give us all tawfiq. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. See you, inshallah, next month.